point out too. It's funny because when this album came out, like when I was looking at Twitter and like all the people that were online having a frenzy about it, so pissed off that he said all that shit.
I missed that, man. I really missed that.
I missed that too, but it shocked me too because it's like we live in a generation, right? We live right now in a generation where when we listen to rap music, right, a lot of the substance material that's spoken about can be perceived to different people as bad or good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some people, like, think about it, right? You could be the same person that gets offended, you know what I'm saying, by, the fact that Slim Shady's speaking about your pronouns and how he doesn't agree with that. But you'll be the same one to go listen to a song that talks about murdering people.
SouLivate.
What are the highlights?
Out of the track list, let me go back to it real quick. Out of the track list, once I got to about, I would say, once I got to Fuel, I started digging. I fucked with Road Rage. That was a really good song. Houdini was like, obviously, I mean, that's the single off of the album.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard it, and they, brought back the Guess Who's Back? Guess Who's Back? For like, probably the 30,000th time.
I love the video. I love the video, man. The video was
cool. The video was definitely super dope. Yeah, that was definitely a good song off of there. I definitely think Houdini's not the craziest song on the album, it's a great bop. It's a great song to just listen to, cruise, hang out with your friends and vibe with, it's definitely a good song. And then, obviously we got Guilty Conscience. And then basically the only other two songs that I can critique, the other ones I was just kind of whatever about. I'm sorry, dude. Toby, that shit was fucking ass.
Okay.
That shit was poo-poo.
What you saying ass for real? Like it wasn't nothing in there that really touched you, man?
It's like, I mean, Eminem was okay on it, but like if I know Babytron. I'm updated with the Babytron and the whole Detroit wave that's going on of like, rap music with that. Yeah. And Big Sean, I obviously come up from like my childhood. In my opinion, they could have done a lot better on the beat. The beat is a great beat. It's very interesting. It's very simple, but I don't know, something about it just didn't hit for me. I don't know. It's like Eminem did okay. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing, but Tron, nah. I feel like Tron did not. I felt like Tron was trying to reach a standard due to the fact that it's fucking Eminem.
Damn, yeah. I didn't like the whole freaking thing about Tobey Maguire got bit by a spider. I got bit by a goat. I'm like, who the fuck? Whoever gets bit by a goat, bro? Like, where you even find a goat for you to like bite you? Like,
you gotta go to like an orchard or like some fucking like place in the boonies for that.
Like, where did that come from, bro? Like, you get bit by a spider, makes sense. Spiders are everywhere. You get bit by a goat, like I get it. You're a goat, like this and that, greatest of all time. But who the fuck gets bit by a goat?
Like, even with the spider bars, it's like, I don't understand if Toby was like a song that's being used for a Spider-Man movie, a soundtrack or something. Like, I remember the one song, I forget what it's called, but Lil Wayne did it. You know what I'm saying? Where he used a lot of different references to spiders. It was for one of the Spider-Man movies, but like that applies to that, in a situation. But on the album, nah, I don't know. It just didn't hit for me. I don't know. That was just one of the duds. And then this was fantastic. Somebody Save Me. That record is very much a fantastic record.
I knew you would appreciate it because it's very musical, man.
It's very musical. It's got Jelly Roll on it, who's, one of the, upcoming big superstars of our generation right now.
Oh, he came already, bro. He
coming from rap into country. I mean, what the hell? Insane. You know, come with all the face tats, the way he looks, same deal. It's like he's his own character. Like he's a big guy, but he's like a teddy bear at the end of the day. I swear to God, a lot of these guys that got all these fucking face tats, they be teddy bears, man. Some of them be cool as shit, you know?
Of course. You know why? I'll tell you just a side note again, man, and I'll see what you think about it, man. Because in my life, like, you know, I grew up with real, like, you know, killers and all that, man. I come from a third world country, man. Yeah. And all the tough dudes that are really tough, they don't gotta prove that they're tough, man.
Yeah.
But the dudes that are really, like, you know, punks, man, they always gotta prove that they're tough, man. So you brought up a good point. Like, you know, he's covered in tattoos. He like looks scary, but he's a good dude, man. You know, like, yeah.
But that was the song Somebody Save Me was really interesting because that was the first time that I've heard a lot of other songs with Eminem being honest, you know what I'm saying, about like, you know, traumas and, you know, depression and sadness and like, you know, past things. Like, you know, he talks about, I believe, what is it? Is it his daughter? I believe in Somebody Save Me. If I could, yeah, he talks about Haley. You know, talking about how he wasn't there for, you know, her first guitar recital, walking down the aisle.
But you know,
first child, like that's some deep shit.
But you did understand that he was talking from a perspective of Slim Shady, not Eminem.
Yes, which is even crazier.
Yeah, because he's basically saying that I chose drugs over you, man. Which
he had to come to terms with that and say that. Like that's fucked.
Yeah, man. But he was, because obviously Haley just got married not too long ago. So he was there. He walked her down the aisle.
Yeah.
So when I'm listening to the song, I'm realizing that he's talking from a perspective of Slim Shady, basically saying that, yo, I was on drugs. I missed your whole life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that was crazy. So my next question is, have you listened to it again? Will you listen to it again? Like, is it an album that you can put on repeat? And how do you think, for maybe you can prophesize for the longevity of this album? Like, how well will it live on?
Ooh, I think when it comes to listening to this album, it's one of those albums where it's controversial to begin with. That's the first one. It's a very controversial album. And for a lot of different reasons, based on what he said, what it's about, and the trajectory of what he wanted it to do impact-wise. I think I would totally listen to this album again. That's just me. I would go through it.
But you haven't yet.
Not yet. No, not yet. But going back to like just throw it on or like really try to deep dive into it or like speak about it, you know, I totally would go back to it, even just for second listens and just vibe to it. There's a lot of great songs on here, at least in my opinion, for, you know, my perspective of it. But, you know, there are some duds, just like every album has. And I definitely think I would listen to it again. I don't think I'd play it in front of people because I just don't want to deal with fucking nutcases nowadays. Like, there's so many nutballs out there that'll stir up a feud with you. And I'm I really try to avoid conflict with people. And like a lot of people are fucking offended by this album. Whereas like me, I understand it. And a lot of the shit I actually agree with. Partially.
Wait a second. Have you heard of people that are actually offended? Because I haven't have you heard this?
Oh yeah. It's everywhere on the internet. It's a lot of people. I mean, rightfully so in their case scenarios. The people that are most offended by this album are the people that he spoke directly towards. You know what I'm saying? The LGBTQ people with, you know, pronouns in their bios and such. You know, he even talked about the state of the government and the planet, I believe, like the world as a whole. You know what I mean? He said stuff about Dre, I think, at one point or something. I don't know if it was like satire, but you know, that's kind of like the whole. I think the people that he talked to are the most targeted and feel like it's, you know, they're oppressed by it. But genuinely, it's just the way he feels, you know, as Slim Shady.
Yeah, because I'm not like, you know, I'm kind of surprised that people are surprised. Like, this is what Eminem does, man. It's like when we think about Mike Tyson, we're expecting him to go bite somebody's ear off and you know, talk about eating some babies and all this shit. Like, why are we surprised, bro? Like, it's Mike Tyson, bro. So the same thing with Eminem. I don't get why people are all surprised. So
because this generation's soft.
again, you touched on a very, very, very good subject, and I thank you for this. First of all, before we get into it,
Yeah.
can we make a deal
Yes.
that when you will give it a listen to it again, and then on the next episode, you will let us know if you received it the same way. Can we make a
Yeah,
deal like that?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
And to all our SouLivate families, don't mind that we are online this way, because we will have a physical location. We will bring you imagery. It's just today. This is my fault, man. Um, you know what I'm saying? I apologize, but you're gonna get pristine audio, and you're gonna
Hell yeah.
get some of the best knowledge out there, man. So
Yeah.
going back to what you talked about, let's get into some of the politics. What and to remind you, on SouLivate, you know what I'm saying? We no holds bar, man. Like, you know what I mean? Let's be honest with the fam. Be honest. What are some of the things that you agreed with and you disagreed with? Since you touched on it, bro, you brought this on yourself.
Let's see. Well, I mean, we can start with habits. I mean, this is all personal preference to me and just, how I grew up and who I live myself out to be. Um, I mean, there was obviously the point of, the record where I don't know if it was in Habits or which record it was. I'd have to go back and listen again and like source it. But, yeah, he was talking about primarily the whole thing about pronouns and such being used for people. I understand it, for the communities as a whole. I do get it, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily my type of thing. Like, I'm not the type of guy to go put it in my bio or go announce it to people. I would personally, if I were a part of that community, I would save that for somebody that I speak to tell them that. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of, I feel like when it comes to the pronoun thing, it's gone very overboard because it's becoming so vast. It's becoming such a circle of just things around like it's huge. And it even goes for, it's just what people identify as, even all the way to their genders and shit. Growing up, we didn't have that fucking shit. People knew if you were like, if you were gay, if you were gay, you would tell them you're gay. If you were a lesbian, you'd tell them you're a lesbian, or, you go by whatever you go by, if any of that shit. So it's like I feel like the fact that people gotta like put it into this promotional sense of like, I have to show people what I go by, rather than just live out what I am and tell that to people directly, is honestly, I feel like it's very attention seeking. I feel like it's just not necessary. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I respect it as a whole. I do get it for them and what they want to do, but it's personally just never been my thing. And like, I feel like a lot of the things going on right now in even my age bracket, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like everybody wants to be a politician, especially if they're on the internet. They want to try to be politicians and act like they know shit, when half of the time, even on, doesn't matter what side, if it's red, white, or, red, blue, green, upside down, you know what I'm saying? Each side, each to their own. But it's like, I feel like everybody nowadays has to try to be a fucking politician and act like they know shit. A lot of these kids that are going to college for like, social economic issues, or like learning about, the state of the country. They don't even know what the fuck
they're brainwashed, bro.
I swear to God, I think it's the internet. I genuinely think it's the internet.
Listen, you would be surprised. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No.
It's actually not only the internet. What is going on in the college scene now is that they're being taught these things, man, by these extra liberal professors and everything. Like, this is the curriculum right now.
This is SouLivate.
I think especially if you're a teacher and you're putting these things into curricular activities or classrooms, it's important to keep a middle ground for everybody, because there's going to be kids that are in your classes that are Republican. There's going to be kids that are, far left liberal, maybe kids in the middle, maybe people that don't even know what the hell they are.
Exactly.
All the monotony. So it's like, you got to be very careful, especially as a teacher, and speaking about these things to the youth, because everybody's in their own little boat bracket, and I think the part about politics that goes so hand to heavy with music is everybody discovers their own right and wrong for themselves. And that's something that people don't like. If your right of wrong is different than their right of wrong, they feel oppressed. They feel like you're this or that, or they want to call you out for it. You know what I'm saying? Me, I stand on what I stand on. I believe what I believe in. And that's just what I do. Everybody else, it's this, but like some people at the end of the day, when they look into things, they read into things, they see all these different things that happen, to people of their kind or people in their communities, they feel oppressed. They feel, a reason to maybe justify certain actions, certain ways of thinking. And that's not necessarily always going to be right or wrong in the justification case, and that's dialing back to Eminem. That's why I kind of related to him in that sense of like, I haven't heard an artist like the problem with music right now, especially the industry, is, I feel like the whole idea of like, even LGBT, it's becoming a propagandized concept. It's getting put in front of, people's faces.
Yeah.
It's insane rather than just understanding it and letting it be what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that said to me that they don't support it. I don't have any people in my life that have said they don't support it. I've had people that say they don't necessarily agree with everything, but they understand it. You know what I mean? Maybe there's people out there that are evil like that and don't fuck with people like that. You even look back to slavery times with the KKK, fucking killing black people for no horrible shit. So dialing back into that, it was really interesting to have an artist come out, kind of like when Joyner Lucas, what was the one song Joyner Lucas did where he had the black guy and the
racist, something like that. Racist, man. Yeah. Crazy.
Dude,
crazy.
That was the perfect when I saw that, I was like, that's what America needs, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's what music industry needs. That type of shit. This is like the first coming now of like a secondary swing off of like somebody that has the balls to talk about what people don't want to talk about.
Listen, man, hip hop was always about that. It was for a chance for us, the street kids, to talk about the injustices and the things we didn't agree with. May I chime in on the whole pronouns thing?
Go, please. Go ahead.
So check this out, man. First of all, I think you being you're being way too cool and too nice, right? I have to say this to all you crazies out there that don't really understand like what is going on is when you have all of these 30, 50 different pronouns, and just to remind you, in New York alone, there are over 30 legal genders, right? So to all you crazies out there that you don't realize what's going on, when you have that many pronouns, you are now affecting language directly. You are trying to change language. Like imagine, man, you roll up to me, right?
Yeah.
I see you as a dude. How am I supposed to know X, Y, Z, L, B, Q? Like, how am I supposed to know that, bro?
You don't until they tell you, or if they even. Some people, I've seen some videos of people that'll be like, "Why don't you just know what I am?" Or like, "Why don't you take a guess?" Like, what the fuck is like what?
So,
what do you think I am? I don't fucking know.
I'll add on to what Spence is saying. Look, we understand. We're artists. Like, we get it. We don't know what your life been like. We don't know that. Look, I had Buck Angel on my podcast on Prove to Me That You're Alive. That was the first transsexual that went through hormonal therapy. It's a huge porn star, a freaking like a celebrity in the LGBTQ community. And even he don't agree with a lot of this shit, bro, because again, you are affecting language, bro. You understand? Which is a huge impact on community, on society, on the way our brain freaking works, bro.
Right.
You understand? So it's like, please, people, realize this, man. What were some other things that you agreed with, disagreed with from what he said?
Well, those were definitely the biggest ones. I mean, just out of like the record, because I mean that was kind of like the forefront of things. I guess like even taking it, to Somebody Save Me at the end of the song, that was kind of like one of those instances of a song where I could like, relate to like not personal struggles, but like kind of being the sightseer of somebody else going through something, if that makes sense. I've had a lot of people in my life that I've speculated around, seeing them go through things with their families, their brothers, their sisters. And, me being that guy, sitting out there on the sidelines watching that happen, I can't do much about it. It definitely affects me, mentally. And, when it came to Somebody Save Me, like listening to that record, like seeing from it, like, what do you call it? Like a third party view for like it being Slim Shady, I feel like kind of Marshall was that guy, like how I was, looking at it from that far, of
on
like
the outside looking in. That's
right.
crazy. You said that, bro. That's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? It's like, I don't know, something about it was just really heart touching. And like, I'm all for listening to songs that are genuinely honest,
Mm.
saying about certain things. And like, partially, I think obviously the things in Somebody Save Me, like, I don't know all the history, but I believe something with the drugs was actually valid to Eminem.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
You can probably tell it better.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
something
man.
I could relate to and feel.
I think I said this to you before, and I don't, I don't know if you're gonna agree with this. I think an artist, if going from good to great is if an artist can, like what you just said, can be honest
Yes.
on an album, and that's what makes that's the difference between a good artist and a great artist, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If somebody can be raw, just honest, you know, let his emotions out, be vulnerable, like
Yeah.
and if we look historically, like think about it, artists like Tupac, man, he's still being talked about, bro, worldwide, is because he was gangster and he was like this vulnerable dude, like Dear Mama, like you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's because that's what we relate to, man.
Here's the other cool thing too that I want to point out too. It's funny because when this album came out, like when I was looking at Twitter and like all the people that were online having a frenzy about it, so pissed off that he said all that
I
shit.
missed that, man. I really missed that.
I missed that too, but it shocked me too, because it's like we live in a generation, right? We live right now in a generation where when we listen to rap music, right, a lot of the substance material that's spoken about can be perceived to different people as bad
Mm.
or good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some people, like, think about it, right? You could be the same person that gets offended, you know what I'm saying, by, the fact that Slim Shady's speaking about your pronouns and how he doesn't agree with that. But you'll be the same one to go listen to a song that talks about murdering people or killing people.
Yo, that's a
You know what I'm saying?
crazy point.
Like, isn't it funny how like you can sit there
Wow.
and be pissed off about that, but you're also the
Wow.
same person that can sit there and listen to music that
SouLivate.
glorifies, drugs,
Yeah.
ruining your health, mental health, all that shit, being happy at the fact that you're depressed. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
It's interesting.
Mask Off was a global hit for how long, bro?
I don't,
Molly
years.
Percocets, bro.
Dude.
The song was yo, this is exactly why y'all gonna get this only on SouLivate, bro, because of what he just said, man.
You
Like
feel
you
me?
just said something so brilliant, bro. Think about it, man. We listen to like tracks with people killing each other, promoting drugs, and we're
Yeah.
like, it's all good. But as soon as someone speaks about their opinion,
Yeah.
free speech. Do we still remember that, people?
You
Do
feel
we
me?
remember some shit like that existed? Free speech? Well, here it is. This dude is exercising his right of free speech as us, natural citizens of this planet should be able to do.
It's backwards. This is the problem.
Crazy.
Society right now is taking the idea of good and bad and flip-flop them.
Yeah.
You can be you'll be the guy that sits there and listens to a Future song talking about fuck her till she fucking blowing
Mhm.
snot bubbles and shit,
Mhm.
right? Which is some pretty that's
Mhm.
pretty graphic, right?
Mhm.
That's pretty crazy. That's, you know what I'm saying? If you were to categorize it and, you know, take the internet approach, maybe that could come off as, you know, oh, you're degrading women, you're sexualizing women,
Mhm.
right? You want to make it politically correct. And then you take it over the pronoun shit and you speak about that, something that's a real thing that's going on in the planet that you just don't have a preference for, that you don't tend to like. That becomes a huge fucking slew of things. That's what I'm saying. It's like everything is backwards. It's literally flip-flop everything. That's what we do.
I want to remind people, because this is very much part of my movement and this is very much part of our movement. I want to remind people this is going to be very important. There are people at the top, this 1%, right? These dynasties, these families that control the politics, and all they care about is basically profit, right?
Yeah.
What they do what they do with us, with all of these different propagandas, as you mentioned before, is a concept as old as time. You can go back to Plato's The Republic, you can go back to Machiavelli's The Prince, and read about this concept that exists called divide and conquer. So what they do is they divide us into these, you know, groups, man, as I mentioned before. And now with the internet and all of this stuff going on, these groups are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and we're pointing fingers at each other, yelling at each other, and we don't want to listen to one another. So from this SouLivate family, we want to remind you, look, it's us, the people, against them. Let's not point fingers and say American or black or Ukrainian or white or gay, or let's say it's us, the people, against them.
Yes.
And the point of even this beautiful podcast right here is let's talk.
Yeah. Real shit. People don't want to talk.
Let's have
scared.
Let's have the conversation, bro.
Facts.
I don't know how you grew up, but let's talk about it, man. Why do we want to, you know, freaking get down each other's throats as soon as now? Let's have this. Let's try to understand one another, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's us against them, bro.
And that's the other thing. I think another reason why people are so scared of conflict is because the internet takes away communication properly. Life, look at dating apps.
How ironic is that, bro?
Look at like, I swear to God, it's crazy. Like, if you look at dating apps, right? We're living in a time where it's so easy to swipe on somebody and just go to the next person. Back in the day, you actually had to go get a lady. You had to walk up to somebody.
Yeah.
And not to get too off track, but point being is like, I think the internet is literally a divisional thing. Like, people don't view it more as a tool, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you can use it to your ability to help you succeed in life. And then there's the people that reside on the internet specifically for the drama, the bullshit that allows it to get in their heads. You know what I mean? And I think it's starting to divide us because everybody's able to hit behind a screen and say shit they'll never say in person.
Man.
But they'll say it on songs. Now we got people that are showing examples of saying it in music. That's a second outlet.
This is SouLivate.